Whenever you get that done, I have a question too.
Absolutely. Just started the recording. Go ahead.
Right, so I have a question about the Q&A section. I'm assuming that this event is going to have a decent amount of people. Is there a feature to maybe swipe away or delete a message if it gets too overwhelming for the speaker? I don't know if that's a thing. And if so,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And if so, will that send the person that's asking the question a note that says, "Hey, your question was removed because it was irrelevant," or just a non-offensive note, I guess.
No, I understand that question. And so within the platform, these questions are submitted privately by attendees during the course of the session. So what you can do is just have moderators basically copy and paste those questions in here, or you yourself can look at this list of Q&A questions. If you would not like to answer any of these questions, I would just suggest moving on from it. The attendees are not privy to how many questions have been submitted. So that is a workaround. And again, I know speakers sometimes don't want to answer certain questions, especially depending on what the context is and their current role. A lot of times there's legal issues. You can't speak on certain things. So if you see a question that you're not able to answer, you would not like to answer, you are able to just overlook it. There is no notification that is sent to the attendee. But just because we're recording again, just want to go over it. There is a backstage area, and this backstage area is only accessible to speakers and virtual event admins. So it's a private chat between everyone who has access to this session. So if you are a speaker for one session and you go into a different session and you're not a speaker for that, you will not have access to that backstage chat, and you will not have access to the Q&A feature there as well. There is a general chat feature here. So this is a public chat that all the speakers and attendees can communicate with each other here. There is a Q&A, and the questions are submitted privately on the Q&A to the speakers and moderators for each session. Speakers and moderators can see who sent the question and again what the question is. I'll start broadcasting here, but I will note there is a 30-minute rehearsal time built into every session within our virtual platform. So instead of seeing start broadcast here, you'd see start rehearsal, and I'll touch on that very shortly. But for the purpose of what we're doing here, I'm going to start broadcasting within the virtual platform. And here I am broadcasting. So now I am live to the general public. So if this was a normal session and there would be multiple people watching me, my broadcast would automatically go live once I hit that broadcast button. At the bottom here, it says live in red, and there is a watch counter here as well. There is a record session button here, and I believe Julie or other moderators will be the ones pressing this, so you as speakers / presenters do not have to worry about that. There is a audio inputs and video inputs area here. That's the gear, full screen, and area here. There isn't a screen sharing ability here. Definitely would suggest that you optimize for motion and video. If you are sharing a Chrome tab or a presentation that has sound, please be mindful of this checkbox here. And a lot of people do overlook it, but it gives you the instructions to share your audio when you are sharing your screen. Simply click that, and you can share your screen this way.
When you say share, excuse me, when you say share your audio, is that your computer audio or is that actually your speaking audio?
Computer audio, great question. But what we see a lot of times is we have different presenters sharing their screen, sharing like PowerPoint or any other application. And within that PowerPoint, it has video. So in order to share that audio, that's what you have to do. if you are in, once you're sharing your screen, your video will move to this top section, and your shared screen will take up this area. If you are in a panel discussion and one of you are sharing your screen, the videos will tile below in this area here, and this area will be the share screen area. The audience has two abilities while you are sharing your screen: to hide remote stream. That simply means they can take away your video and focus on the content you are sharing. But I do want to note that does not affect any other attendees' video. It only affects their view. Same thing for you. You have these controls as well. So if you really want to focus on what you're looking at or sharing, you can just hit the hide remote stream button. There's also a switch display mode, and this changes the orientation of your video. And again, that only happens to your video and not anyone else within the platform.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
When we present, our slides will be controlled by Ben, and 5 of us will be speaking. How do we address that? If he's going to be sharing his screen, can we each talk while he's sharing his screen?
Yes, you can. So I'm assuming, is a moderator for that discussion in particular, is a moderator sharing that screen, or is it one of the presenters?
One of the, well, he's not a presenter.
I'm not a presenter. I'm just going to be showing this. I'm going to be running the slides. Since we have multiple presenters, I'm going to be acting as a single point for all of them. I'm going to be sharing my screen while they speak on the slides.
Okay. Yes. That's possible. You will be able to do it that way. Julie, if there's any other details with this, we can connect on that. We can just have you be private and not showing your video or your audio, and you can do that for essentially from the background.
I hate to keep asking you so many questions, but one more.
No problem, ask away.
A lot of times when we're presenting and there's a number of people that are on virtual platform, they recommend that we turn off our videos while we talk and just let the presentation show. Is that the same for this platform, or do you all want us to keep our videos running?
That's really entirely up to you as the presenters and I guess how the event organizers would like it to run. Either way is fine with us. But I will get into some things that happen when you do turn your camera off as a speaker. But again, that's really entirely up to you, whatever you guys feel comfortable. But I would like to note, and rolling right into camera features, if you are a speaker on the virtual platform and you decide to turn your camera off, your stream will now not show to the virtual audience. So again, if you are in a panel discussion, for instance, me and Julie are both presenters for a session, and I decide to turn my camera off, the audience will only see Julie's camera feed, and mine will not be shown. But on Julie's side, because she is a presenter and all the other backstage admins and moderators for this session, they will see a black box. So the screen would be split in half if there's only 2, and so on and so forth for multiple panel discussions. But Julie will see half would be her video stream, the other side would be a black screen. But the audience will only see Julie's video feed at this time. So that's very important for those of you who will be on panel discussions. If you and again, it's fine to do this on the platform. It really just depends on how you guys are looking to present. If you do turn off your camera, and if you are turning off your camera, we would recommend you turn off your audio as well. We don't want the attendees to be confused on where the audio is coming from. Again, unless you are having someone share that slide and you just want to speak on the content that's in the slide. But again, if you turn your camera off, it will not show, that video stream will be stopped while it's showing to the attendees. So just be very conscious of that. And if there's only one speaker and you turn your camera off, there is a notice that shows on the screen So the general attendees that the speaker has their camera off. Any questions on that? I know that could be a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah, I'm thinking if maybe it would be a good idea to have the panel sessions kind of either do one of those test sessions on Monday and kind of play with those settings just to make sure. But I would probably suggest keeping your camera on. But since you are in a panel discussion, maybe just mute the microphone whenever you're not currently presenting on that segment, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I have a follow-on question to that. So
No
like
problem.
in that situation where you have panelists and one person's talking, is there like a kind of a spotlight
I'm
thing,
sorry,
or
you're
is it
breaking
just,
up on
oh,
my end.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're breaking up on my end.
Okay.
Yes, can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah. Okay. So in that situation where you have, a couple of panelists, one person's talking, is there any sort of spotlight thing, or is everyone just like equally on the screen, the same size, that sort of thing?
Oh, yes. So within the platform, there is no spotlight feature. Everyone would be equally framed during the broadcast.
Okay. And then similarly, is there any magic to checking settings when you come in? And I think we'll go in and try this on Monday, but in terms of making sure like your camera's on, your audio's on, and you're using the right audio device, all of that sort of thing, does that
Yes.
like pop up when you come in, or do you have to check it once you're in?
Great question. And whatever your default settings are for your computer, our platform, that's what we recognize. So if you're
Okay.
using an external camera, sometimes you might run across some difficulties, just depending on what type of external camera. But one thing to note, and this is me moving to the next area of this presentation, is again, 30 minutes before every session, there is a rehearsal mode built in. So what you would do is, one second. What you would do is start rehearsal mode. And once you start rehearsal mode, you and your fellow presenters / speakers and your moderators will have access to the virtual platform, and it's going to look like you are virtually streaming. But again, at the bottom here, instead of live, it's going to say rehearsal in yellow. And at the top here, it's going to have a countdown clock until when the platform will be pushed to live. So again, you guys are meeting on Monday. You can work through these back-end issues. But again, we always encourage right before the event to hop into your session 30 minutes before and just do those final checks to make sure everything is working well. The countdown clock will count down from 30, of course, and once it's under 1 minute, it will go into seconds. And once it hits 0, it will push the video stream to live. So just be conscious of that. Normally we have the moderators giving updates here to the speakers if they are not themselves keeping their eye on the countdown clock in this area.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry.
oh,
Go ahead.
just one quick
Stephanie.
question. Okay, Aaron. Okay, so just to make sure I understand this, no one is actually let into the room, like in terms of people coming to watch until it goes live. Is that accurate, or can people come in early?
Oh, people can come in early, but they will not see you in rehearsal mode. So
Okay.
while you're in rehearsal mode, again, it's going to say rehearsal here, but this watch count might change. But if this changed to 1, 2, or 3, that simply means someone who has admin level access is viewing the video, reviewing your rehearsal mode and audience mode. Again, so you don't have to worry about, oh no, I'm not like fully ready as yet, and this has been pushed to broadcast. The platform you would visually be able to see once you are live. Again, this will turn from yellow and says rehearsal, and it will say live as it do here, and so will the top right here. So again, attendees can come into these this area as early as possible, as early as they would like, but they will see either a background image, and over that background image, there's a notice that just says waiting for speaker.
Hey, and this is probably a question more for Julie or Elena. So I think there's like, I guess like a sponsor video we're supposed to play. Are we going to be getting information on where that is, how that happens, or Julie, are you doing that? How does that work?
Julie, I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting on the sponsors to send me their information and their videos. And once I get that in hand, I'll send it to the moderators.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any other questions regarding the virtual platform and accessibility?
This is Norma Jean.
Hello, Norma Jean.
Move from rehearsal to broadcast. Does the moderator or does Julie or does the clock just tick to a magic start time and it automatically goes through, or does someone have to click a button?
Mm-hmm.
No, it automatically pushes to broadcast live. So again, scroll back up. Here there will be a countdown clock. It's going to start at 30 minutes because that's when the backstage rehearsal would start. And as it's going down, and it'll get to 10 seconds, countdown, and once it's at 0, it will turn to live here, and then your video will be pushed to live broadcasting to the general audience.
Good question, though.
When we go live, will the moderator speak before the first speaker to introduce us? Is that how it's going to work?
Yes.
And do y'all have any issues with us requesting all questions to be held to the end so we can get through the 50 minutes on time?
That's actually a good question, and I would defer to like you guys coordinating with your moderators, because what I've seen before happen is some speakers want all the questions held to the end, and sometimes the speakers want to kind of filter through those questions and kind of hand select those, or the moderator will compile the sessions that they think are applicable. So I would probably coordinate that with your moderator directly on how you want your session to go. But Ian, just for your information, and also Brock, both of your sessions are actually at the end of the day. So if we happen to go over on Q&A, it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't kick you out. Is that correct, TJ?
No, it's not going to kick you out the platform.
Yeah. So it is a good idea to hold the questions till the end. And if you guys need to go over and you guys have time to hang around, the program itself will not boot anybody out since it is the last session.
There is a stop time at a certain point, but we do allow for overages. What I would say regarding question and answers is you can have you could say we'll answer questions at the end. And again, this is entirely up to how you and the organizer would like to do this. You can say we'll answer question at the end, but feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section.
Yeah, I think we prefer to do that because there's, we've got 3 very technical sessions that are included in the 50 minutes, and if they go into asking questions, we would lose the remaining portion of the presentation.
Exactly. So once those, so as you and everyone else on the panel are going through your presentation, this questionnaire can fill up, and at the end, the moderator or you yourselves can look through here for the questions you guys would like to answer and give the best content back and information back to the viewing audience. So that's one way to do it. Again, they know that they've submitted a question, but there's no notification that says like your question is not answered, so on and so forth.
Maybe a dumb question. Are the attendees initially muted, or are they constantly muted and all questions are going through the chat box?
That is definitely not a dumb question. During the course of the session, attendees do have the ability to type questions and like have conversation during the course of your session. It's really up to you. Again, if time is a constriction, you don't have to address those questions or anything like that.
I think Ben means like live, right, Ben?
Right.
I think he's asking if the attendees can go live like this and kind of video and audio.
Oh, no.
Live answer, live question.
No.
I'm more worried about background noise.
I'm sorry?
I'm more worried about background noise if someone has a live mic and if that's even a possibility, or if a moderator needs to be aware to mute someone if they're not paying attention?
Oh, if anyone is, let's say if you're in a panel discussion and someone does have their mic on and maybe there's some background noise, more than likely the moderator will insert into this backstage chat to request to turn your mic off. But as far as attendees having access to mic or camera, no, they will not. So it's not, this is more like a webinar. We're broadcasting to the public and they're just consuming the content via video and audio. They don't have the ability to broadcast as well.
Hey, TJ, I have a
Hey.
question. So I'm one of the moderators. Just so I understand, the way the flow will occur is I will first press on that live, and then I will be on the camera and I will introduce the speaker, and then I will give control to the actual speaker, or who is going to make sure that now the speaker is going to be presenting or sharing the slides?
So that's kind of something you would connect with Julie on. But functionality wise within the platform, there is no, for everyone, every speaker and every moderator, if you are going to be on camera, you have to select to start broadcasting by yourself. So you're not able to just pull someone else's camera feed on. That's a security issue, just to be able to turn someone's camera on and their mic on as well. So what you would do as a moderator, if you are speaking and you are introducing someone, you'd come on the camera, you'd introduce them, and they would already more than likely start their broadcast. And in the screen, it will just be split however many ways, depending on the amount of speakers/presenters, and then they'll start talking right after you give their introductions. After that, if you choose to go off camera, all you'd have to do is turn your camera off and mute yourself, and you'd still be within the session. But again, the attendees themselves will not see your video feed.
So as a moderator, I will click on the third icon from the left, right?
This one?
Yes, when I'm introducing the speaker.
No, you don't need to do anything to introduce the speaker. The speakers themselves, once they get into the session, they will click that, and I'll reload my page to show. And again, this is something you could walk through in the 30 minutes before in the rehearsal time, but the speakers essentially will click their own start broadcasting. So again, similar to Zoom, there's no waiting room to pull them on stage. They will just access the virtual platform and start broadcasting themselves. So you would just speak first, they'll probably have their mic muted, and once you're finished with the introductions, they would just unmute themselves and speak.
Okay, I see. So they will press the start broadcast and I will be in the background as a moderator introducing them, and then they start their presentation.
Are you going to be on camera for your session?
Well, that's what I was wondering for the moderators. Can they be on the camera in the beginning?
Julie, are your moderators going on camera as well?
Oh, if you want to go on camera, absolutely. You can just do a split screen, introduce the speaker, and then bounce out. If you only want to use your voice, that's an option too. I have 3 sponsors who may or may not have videos to play beforehand, so you would need to share the screen if you're part of one of those.
I have a quick question for Aaron. We have 5 speakers. We submitted our bios and everything else. Are you just going to introduce us by name? Or are you going to go through the whole bio thing? Because we would lose a lot of time with the 5 speakers. Or can the first speaker introduce the second speaker by name?
Yeah, I mean, we can do whatever y'all prefer if you have a preference. You know, I mean, I'm really kind of open to whatever is to make it easier for y'all to present. So you can just let me know.
More than likely, your bios are going to be in the speaker area here. So I apologize for not going over the speaker area. But within the speaker area, it's going to showcase all of the speakers. for throughout the course of the event. As you see here, clicked on starting one of the speakers, and I can see all of the sessions she's attached to. And if I was not already in one of these sessions, I can click add and add myself to that session to put it on my agenda. There's a biography here, and below that your event organizer can upload different LinkedIn or Twitter links as well. So this is where more than likely your bio is. But again, just for introductions, I believe it's just entirely up to how you guys would like to be introduced.
Yeah, and so I guess building on that, Ian, so I don't know if y'all want me to just, do y'all want your whole bio read during the session, or do you want me to just kind of say name and, professional affiliation before y'all do the individual talks?
I think that's what I was getting at. If you read through all the bios, it would take up a lot of time. So maybe just our name, affiliation, and then what we can do is I'll have Ben maybe insert a slide in between each presenter.
Mhm.
That way it cue us and introduce the next speaker.
Okay, so you're saying you want me to introduce the speakers in between, or y'all are going to do it?
You would just introduce, just say, you could introduce you just say our 5 names at the beginning, our affiliation, all associated with the Louisiana Watershed Initiative, then just introduce me, and as we move through the progression of the presentation, Ben can insert a slide that will just say the next speaker so we know to introduce the next speaker behind
perfect.
us, and we would do it, if that's okay with you.
Oh, yeah, whatever makes it easier for y'all. Sounds good.
All right. Any other questions I can help you guys with? All right. Well, I believe that's all I have for you today. Thank you for staying. I have recorded this, so I'll give access to Julie so she can